Welcome to another episode of Interviewing the Legends with special guests Days Between Stations.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Interviewing the Legends. I'm your host, Ray Shasho. Days Between Stations are releasing their fourth album, Perpetual Motion Machines, Music for a Film, on November 29th. Recently released is their music video called Seeds. The music video for Seeds features artist Jean-Paul Bourdier at work, altering landscapes, coloring bodies, marking up film frames, playing with manufactured items to see how they influence visuals. Perpetual Motion Machines is the result of DBS, founding members keyboardist Oscar Fuentes Bills and guitarist Sepand Samzadeh, working on the music for a documentary film about Jean-Paul Bourdier himself. In the mid-2010s, as the music reached completion, the group was offered the opportunity to release their music as a proper album. Sepand says Jean-Paul's artwork was our muse, and we scored the music to pictures and to existing films. Pink Floyd's backup vocalist, Durga McBroom, who was on the show recently, sings on A Being, which will be released as a video. The album is dedicated to the memory of Big Bill Kaler, who engineered early sessions of Perpetual Motion Machines and worked on the group's second album, In Extremis. The band has a history of music and films dating back to Radio Song from the debut album, License in the independent film Young, Single, and Angry in 2006, and then in 2023 in Paul and Trisha, The Art of Fluidity, now featured on Apple Music. Please welcome Sepand Samzadeh and Oscar Fuentes Bills of art rock post-prog group Days Between Stations to Interviewing the Legends. Hello, guys.
Hello.
You know, it's an interesting story, the way you guys got together, man. And what's amazing about it is how well you guys collaborate together, you know? And you guys came together, and I guess in was it after a Music Connection magazine ad in LA? How did that happen? Did this happen right away? That you guys just kind of mesh well, or how did that work out?
Yeah, I at the time, this is back in, we're kind of dating ourselves like fossil record here, but but this was back in 2003. I was looking through Music Connection magazine, like you said, local LA area music networking sort of magazine, and there was an ad there, guitarist look, and it's I'm paraphrasing, guitarist looking for collaborators to work on a concept album. The list of influences was really interesting because it said like Pink Floyd, Radiohead, Nirvana, Neil Young. I remember it said Neil Young, even though Sepand maybe disagrees there, but Sonic Youth was one of the influences. I thought, this sounds interesting, let's check it out. So I responded to the ad, and we made a plan to meet, and we met at a pub called
Taking the Whistle?
Or was it the Cat and Fiddle? I can't remember.
Something like that. It was an animal with an instrument.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think they shut the place down, dude.
Oh, man.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah. Post-COVID.
Yeah. Yeah, so we met there. It was an English pub.
Mm-hmm.
I remember we ate Scotch eggs. I don't know if you've ever had Scotch eggs.
I've never had that. Oh.
It's like an egg. There's like a sausage over it, and
right.
It's all fried. And
That's good.
It was really good, but it's terrible for you probably.
Right, sounds like
a heart attack.
Yeah.
Yeah, we met there, and we we talked about music, and we seemed to click right away.
It's amazing.
But
Because you guys act like you've been playing for years and years, you know?
Yeah.
it's one part of the story that from my side, I remember I was like waiting, and I think he was like 30 or 40 minutes late. He was stuck at traffic, and we had text back then, right? It was like the flip phone.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like, yeah. So I was like, it was like one of those things where I'm just gonna take off, right? Like we're talking like milliseconds of something, like a decision that I would have, if I took off, it would be over. But I don't think I've mentioned this to you. Oscar was the only one that applied or
Wow.
replied. Yeah.
How about that?
It's like no one gave a shit about my taste.
Jeez.
And Sepand wasn't used to what I call Mexico time.
Yeah, yeah.
It's more fluid. It's more fluid. I remember there was I can't remember which band it was, but some band, there was a story that they had called a press conference, in Mexico City for 9 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
And then, the band shows up, the publicists show up, everything. And like, there's nobody there. And they didn't realize that that's just, the Mexican reporters were. That's pretty early there. And then, so they start kind of wandering in 9:30, 9:45.
Then it's a smoke break, then it's lunch, and then it's siesta.
There you go.
Yeah, that's right. Just like in Spain.
My experience from Spain, exactly.
Exactly. You guys are incredible. Okay. I'm thinking you guys might be the next big thing in cinematic, like sound scores, and soundtracks and things like that. Is that are you guys kind of headed that way? Do you want to do more movies?
Oh, definitely. I think.
Oscar, I want to say 2000 was the Mexican movie our first one? No. Well, we got licensed to do a couple of movies, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, Ray, one was Young, Single, and Angry. Can we share kind of funny, somewhat disturbing stories, but not too rude with you? So we're finally, was it 2006 or 7 now, right? So finally, finished college, did all that stuff. Like, I'm gonna be a musician, leave me alone. No one can say anything to me anymore, right? This is a very exciting moment. So I'm watching the movie with my mom, right? And then it's kind of like a little kinky, like American Pie, right? That kind of humor. And then it was very embarrassing. So just imagine I'm sitting beside my mom, and then the clip is the guy is sitting on the bed. He pulls out a dildo, and then our our music kicks in, right? And then I'm looking at my mom like, "Oh shit, please don't ask me what this is." So then that was my first exposure. But like the pride of being on that movie and like the Pineapple Thief CD when we didn't have any, that was just like, oh, we can do this too,
Yeah.
And there's something freeing about the movies, although it's not, because like the scenes dictate what it wants,
Mm-hmm.
right? And when someone is speaking, you can't solo, you can't go bravado, right?
That's right.
And also the length is dictated to you. So it kind of reminds me of like the Byzantine Empire, where you were forced to do religious paintings, but there's some beauty there, right? I felt very liberated doing that stuff, and I really enjoy it because like you look for sounds, you kind of experiment a bit more, and it's very freeing.
You guys are perfect for movie scores, and some of my favorites, and Ramin Djawadi.
Oh yeah.
Another fellow Iranian who did Game of Thrones. He's actually German-Iranian composer. Unfortunately, we lost James Horner, who was one of my favorites with Field of Dreams. The guy was that's a beautiful soundtrack.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know if you know Tom and Andy they did Mothman Prophecies, which I love.
Yeah.
That's got that kind of proggy, spaciness feel to it, which I love. Hans
Yeah,
Zimmer, of course, and I've always
Goblin.
loved, yeah, and I've always loved Vince Guaraldi, the Charlie Brown stuff.
for sure.
Yeah, so you guys are next, man. I'd love to
Ah,
see
we
you
hope
guys.
so.
Love to see you guys do movies because,
Related to that, I
yeah,
in 2003, I had uh, I have something called Graves' disease.
right. I know about that.
And so at the time, I didn't know this at the time, but was having a reaction to the medication.
Hmm.
So I had really bad arthritis, right? Caused by the medication. So I
Right.
thought, oh God, I can't play anymore because, it was pretty crippling. So I started I started taking classes at UCLA for film scoring.
Hmm.
In fact, Bruce Reich, who was one of my teachers there, had given some lessons to James Horner,
Hmm.
which was really interesting.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, another one of his. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to say this because it was sort of
Hmm.
like on the side that he did this. He's since passed, but he
Yeah.
was also teaching orchestration and parts writing to Rivers Cuomo from Weezer.
Hmm.
And so I was at UCLA for a few years there studying film scoring, and it was great, and I think I've always been interested in film writing. I love films, so
Yeah. Some of the
and
best music in the world comes from
oh
films,
yeah, for sure, yeah,
That, Field of Dreams is my favorite movie, and one of the reasons is because the music's so great. You
yeah.
know?
That's a great one, yeah.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Actually, the
Angelus.
has a great score also from John Barry, I think.
Oh, John Barry, yeah, Mr.
Yeah,
Bond, yeah,
yeah.
another one.
But
Of
yeah,
course,
at the
John
time,
Williams.
which one?
John Williams.
Oh my
Also,
God, yeah,
he's done so much. But they need guys like you now. I mean, people are getting old and leaving us. So
I
it's your
appreciate it.
turn.
I just turned 49. Very sweet.
You're a young man.
we're
A long way to
available.
go. Yeah. I want to talk about the new album. Okay.
Excellent.
Perpetual Motion Machines. And I love it, man. I'll give it 5 stars. It starts off with Waltz for the Dead, which kind of a whimsical with the accordion, right? Is that an accordion that you use in it?
Yeah.
I've never heard the accordion sound so good, Wow.
Well, we have to, do our best for that instrument here.
Yeah, you do a good job with it, because that's not what I pictured the accordion to sound like. It's great.
Well, a lot of that credit's got to go to our engineer Navon.
Right.
And producer.
He did a great job with this album. He really did.
Oh yeah. And there's also a bandoneon on there, sort of playing a counter melody to the accordion. Bandoneon, Argentinian sort of, well, associated with Argentinian tangos.
Right. Sure.
But, in the accordion family.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It sounds a little bit like 1940s wartime. How they had it maybe in Italy or I don't know, France. Probably France, I guess.
You nailed it. That's what we were going for.
Yeah. Love it.
Yeah, it's a very kind of romantic,
very romantic. Yeah. I would have liked to hear more of that. Sometimes these songs are too short, but it's good because you want more.
Well, that's one of those examples where we were dictated how long this thing would be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you segued into Proof of Life, which was a very cool spacey instrumental on that. And of course, Seeds is out as a music video, which is very cool. Yeah, that's very interesting video, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
It captivated me. We had this thing in our hands for 7 years.
Really?
And producers and editors didn't know what to do with it. I mean, and I really felt it, like, because you're just mesmerized, right? Like it took a long time, so a lot of people came and went. So we sat down with our engineer, and the person who shot Alex Doris, who's one of my closest friends. He's we really owe the project to him because he really rolled the ball on that one. He I guess, what's that movie called? Oh geez, the oil movie. I completely went some
There Will Be Blood.
blood. There will be blood, right?
Okay.
So
Yeah.
these were all these long shots, right?
Right.
So Alex went to the desert for 4 days and he shot these shots. They were just incredible, right? And he brought them, and we were like literally jamming with the edit, and Bill was alive back then. So we were all kind of in one room jamming this out. And I remember we kind of settled on one idea, and then Oscar did a lot of the magic, and then there you have it. It just seems to be a perfect marriage, and we really saw ourselves, like you said earlier, like maybe this is a good marriage for us.
Yeah, I think so.
You know, at the time, we the way I remember it also is that we were just scoring the first scene, basically.
Right.
And then it came to pass that became sort of a trailer for the film, and we realized that at a certain point, oh, this is going to take a long time to edit. You know?
I hated it.
Had like hundreds of hours of footage, to go through. And at the time, he had referenced, I'm blanking, Daniel. He did the score for the Steve Jobs movie.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm blanking. So we were sort of choosing a really orchestral palette, but also if you listen, there's the electronic elements, there's the and guitars and stuff in there. But to me, it seemed like, and I still feel this way with Jean-Paul's artwork, and to be honest, Alex's footage of just Jean-Paul working, and it just was like, wow, this is kind of a perfect marriage.
I think it is.
Yeah. And then, it was very exciting,
And I don't think Oscar and I have formally talked about this, but emotionally coming off In Extremis and Giants, where it was like, I'm not a prog guy. Like my cats are Nirvana, Melvins, 90s grunge. Like that's where I'm at, right? And playing solos in 23, like I can barely get through Stairway to Heaven. So it kind of takes its toll on me, where I just want to have fun and play. Right. So it was really, for lack of a better term, diuretic for me.
Yeah.
That's tough. It was necessary. Yeah.
And critics are going to put you in that prog category in a way.
Well,
they do that right away,
and we're honored by that. Because and just to get the love reciprocated, it's weird. It's like Rick Wickman emails you. It's like, huh?
I know.
Yeah.
My favorite song on this album is Unearth. I love that album. It's a beautiful piano opening. You know what it kind of reminded me of a little bit? Richard Wright did a song called Wearing the Inside Out. And if you hear that song, you hear a little bit of elements of your song, like Richard Wright. Richard Wright from Pink Floyd, which I loved.
Oh, sure.
He didn't get enough credit.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for him, you wouldn't have Pink Floyd. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah. But if you hear that song, Wearing the Inside Out, you'll hear a little bit of those, Unearth.
Is that from one of his solo albums, or?
It is. But if you go on YouTube and do the live show, the Pink Floyd live show, him and David Gilmour do play together.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing. I mean, Pink Floyd, for me personally, it was a huge influence, you know.
And the fact that you've been working with Durga, you know, she's been on your albums in the past. I
Yes.
love Durga. She was on the show not long ago. She's
Oh,
so cool.
She's
great.
really special.
Is she? Isn't she?
She's really special.
Yeah.
And we're I would say we're pretty close friends.
Good.
And she's a powerhouse, you know,
She
like,
is.
and she sees something and just goes for it. I'm like, good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you. I don't have the guts you do. Go for it. Yeah, she's awesome. We're very lucky.
Yeah.
And super pro.
Mm-hmm.
Just great attitude, no BS. We're going to be releasing a live show we did like I don't know, 10 years ago, 2 years ago. So she was in it. And honest to God, like she came hours early,
Right.
sat down on the couch, didn't bother anybody, did her stuff.
Mm.
I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
Respect.
Her you know about her mom, right? She was a big
Yeah.
medical professional. Yeah.
Yeah.
Doctor.
Her dad too.
Yeah. Very cool.
Right. So trailblazers.
So she's
And
got
then-
got the smarts, man. From the family,
Everything.
too.
Everything.
Yeah.
It's one of those where it's just like the universe didn't gave her everything.
Yeah.
Right. And you know, she would talk about stories because I would ask her, I'm like, it's like, how'd you get into Pink Floyd? Oh, I just thought I'd go up and ask. I'm like, what the? Or like, how'd you play the role in Flashdance? Oh, I just went to the audition.
Yeah.
And it's just her attitude, her confidence, and then her delivery.
Mm-hmm.
There's no BS behind what she says.
Yeah.
And she's got a very unique thing,
She
you know, her
does.
voice. If I can share this, sorry, I don't want to hog time here.
That's all right.
I don't know how you felt, Oscar, but so that live show, right? I'm there, the bassist, Oscar's in front of me, I could see him, right? And we got a couple of gals singing, drummer, everything, right? We're about to go. So she sings Either Or from the debut, right? That's going to be featured on the album coming up.
Good.
And I felt like I got hit by thunder when she started singing, and I got a little disabled. And I looked at Oscar, and it was that moment where, like, if I die right now, I'll die happy. Right?
Yeah.
Again, I'm
And-
Nirvana boy. I'm not Pink Floyd, right? So I was just like, holy shit! Like my whole body just went.
yeah, we were in the in-ear monitors, right? And I was facing away from where Durga was. And so when Sepand looked over at me, when Durga started singing, he would have seen my eyes just go, oh my God.
Like I wasn't in control of my body. I was like, what the hell is happening? Like, oh, this is the stage high everyone talks about. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I told her, you know, when the three girls of Pink Floyd do their thing, you know, the solo. When she does her solo, I immediately start crying. And I told her that. I says, I don't know why, but your voice makes me start crying. And she says it's something to do with death and think, you know, the hereafter and this and that. It just goes right through you, into your soul, you know.
You heard me loud and clear, and I hear you loud and clear. Yeah, it's really gratitude.
Yeah, it is.
It's gratitude.
She's so cool.
Music does sort of connect you with other.
It does.
Unspoken things that can't be spoken of, almost.
It does. Music's everything to me, man.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for music, I wouldn't be here today. You know,
Yeah.
It's the truth. Stone Faces, very cool, spacey electronic track. Love it. Paradigm Lost, another favorite.
Excellent.
Another favorite. Ascend. Piano playing on this is great, by the way. Incredible.
Thank you.
And the guitar is awesome as well, both. I just loved how you guys mesh so well together. I hope your arthritis gets better, man, because I know the feeling. I got arthritis too.
Yeah.
I had surgery on my wrist, 2 surgeries.
Oh, no.
I want to experiment with piano, but sometimes I can't do it because
Yeah.
My whole wrist is not straight. It's crooked. And it's not easy to play piano when you got a crooked
Sure.
wrist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's painful, man.
My arthritis actually went away when I stopped taking that medication.
What was the medication? It wasn't gabapentin, was it?
No, it was called propylthiouracil.
Oh wow. Good name for an
PT.
album.
Yeah.
Or a band.
Yeah. It sounds like I don't know, some like prehistoric beast or
It
something.
does.
Yeah.
So when you said purple, I'd like Barney popped in my head. I was like,
That's the name of your next
I
album.
like, Ray, I think we'll listen to what you're saying. I think it's a great title.
It is very different. You guys
Yeah,
had Oscar, did you have training, classical training?
well, yes. I want to say, yeah, I mean, I never went to conservatory or anything, but
Right.
when I was 13, I asked my mom for lessons. This is back in Mexico City.
Right.
And I had a teacher from Uruguay,
Mm-hmm.
Ana Maria Bagalicawe was her name. And I still remember her. She was fantastic. She was great. And she taught me. We barely wasted any time. We went straight into minuet in G.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
You don't want to start from scratch.
Yeah. And that was about, I would say, 2 years of that. And then when I moved to the States, I was mostly continuing that on my own, the piano. But I did I did play in the jazz band in high school, piano.
Right.
And I viola in the high school orchestra. And then once I got to college, there was a course named Applied Music, where basically they hooked you up with a teacher, and I got to study with Poncho Sanchez, the Poncho Sanchez pianist, Charlie Otwell.
Okay.
And Charlie was just fantastic, and he knew all my prog rock references, and he was able to teach me really anything. And I went deep into jazz at that point, but also kept up the classical studies. And he had me work a lot on the 2 and 3 part inventions by Bach, because that's something that's used a lot by jazz guys, really. And
that high school connection is so important, especially you mentioned the band.
Yeah.
You learn so much from band in high school. My son played drums in high school on the band, and he's a really good drummer, and it stays with you forever.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Interestingly, so one of my classmates, who ironically he wasn't in the jazz band. He was early on, but I think maybe he was already too good. But Brian Tyler, the film composer,
Oh, okay.
was a classmate.
Wow.
I also went to school with the guys from Sugar Ray.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were called Shrinky Dinks back then.
Shrinky Dinks.
Yeah,
that's a good name.
And my teacher, I have to do like a quick shout out to my high school music teacher, Harry Correa.
Okay.
And he was just fantastic. He let me take the viola home.
Right.
I don't know how he did it. He had like 80 kids he had no assistant, no nothing. And he had a jazz band, he had the orchestra, he had other courses, and he was great. So,
man, I would love to take lessons from both of you guys. I play guitar mostly, but
nice.
I want to say, I want a teacher teach me how to play comfortably numb. I don't want to learn his stuff. I want to learn my stuff.
Yeah.
We're here to serve, sir.
I love this album, though, man. I'm just Ascend was the next track, and you finish with Being, which has got Durga McBroom on it. I love this album. It's got a lot of great songs. It's got Ascend was the next track, and you finish with Being, which has got Durga McBroom on it. I love this album, though, man. I'm just a Sen was the next track, and you finish with Being, which has got Durga McBroom on it. You know, it's a great video. Is Witness to the End of the World. Oh my God. That is so good. Wow.
Yeah,
That is so powerful. That's a
yeah,
movie in itself.
yeah. Props to our multi-talented maestro Eric Nielsen for that.
Oh my God.
Manager slash film department slash editing department. Yeah, he does a lot for us. God bless him. We love him very much.
Yeah.
He actually was instrumental to bring Billy Sherwood into the band
I know
back
Billy.
in the
Yeah.
day.
Yeah. Good
So
guy.
he has a lot to do with the band's fingerprint or footprint, I should
I
say.
know Bruce too. Bruce Sword. He was on the show.
Oh,
He's a good
what a
guy.
sweetheart.
Yeah.
So I remember, yeah, because he blogged back then. We were so ecstatic with being on that Pineapple Thief CD. And all it was is us in the background going, right? There's no talent there whatsoever. And he wrote in the blog, like, hey, you know how Steve Wilson or other
Yeah.
people, other people thank him, and Days
Mhm.
Between Stations just thanked me, and this is my first one. I was like, hell yeah, man. So we love him. We love him, and we love pineapples
Oh
and
yeah.
thieves. Yeah.
Well, it was
That's
mostly feedback on there, but there was a little bit of piano in there with heavily
Oh, there you go.
did piano.
Excuse me.
But it was very finely crafted
Yep.
noise.
It was. It
Yeah.
was.
Finely crafted noise.
Yes.
I like that.
Sonic Youth.
That's another good name for an album.
That's a great album title.
Yeah. Well, Perpetual Motion Machines, it's coming out. It is a fantastic album. I recommend it highly. Um, I want to mention some of your other music because maybe people don't realize how popular you guys really are. In Extremis, you guys had Billy Sherwood, Peter Banks, the late Peter Banks, Rick Wakeman, and Tony Levin on that album. Is that right? Wow.
Yes.
What a lineup.
Yeah. I've likened it before to because these were my heroes growing up.
Yeah.
I have likened it before to getting to, having your action figures like come to life. You're like,
I like
whoa.
that.
Yeah, it's weird. It was weird.
It's unbelievable.
Again, going back to Nirvana Land, although Kurt did solo, but during the debut, we had the first song we kind of finished was called "How to Seduce a Ghost," and I remember that moment really well because Oscar just looked at me and goes, "Hey, you should do a solo here." I'm like, "What? No, don't make me solo." So by the time In Extremis came out, and the names you mentioned, right? I was like, holy crap, I can't mess around. So I started taking lessons for the first time. Right. So like practicing 8-9 hours a day. I was like, I'm not gonna embarrass myself and the band. Right. So I hauled ass on that one, right?
Yeah.
And the same thing with Giants. And then I was like, this is a little too much for me, because I'm more on the cinematic side.
Right.
And what I'm talking about really is like, you think you should be going one direction, then your soul kind of has feedback and pulls you back a bit and realigns you. And I wonder, and I don't think Oscar and I really talked about this, but this album is kind of a realignment.
Mm-hmm.
It's, we didn't have the freedom we did on the debut because, there was no film on the debut, but this one was just liberating.
Mm. What's sad is there's no record companies like there used to be and albums because you guys album covers are incredible. I used to buy music just based on their album cover.
Yeah.
And I would have bought all your albums.
Oh, thank you.
They're so cool,
And they go together. There's a relationship, right?
Right.
With Paul Whitehead, who painted the covers for the last two albums, this one was Jean-Paul's photo, but with Paul, we would actually sit down. It's like playing tennis.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we're thinking about this theme, right? And then he draws something, on Photoshop, not the
Right.
actual thing, right? And then I print it on a big foam board. Oscar comes over, we look at it, lyrics start coming out of it, you know.
Very
In
cool.
fact, Giants was just like that. It was Billy, Oscar, and I was just sitting and looking at this thing, and the lyrics just all came.
That's cool. I like
Yeah.
that. One song should have been a hit. It should have been on like a top 40 hit, and that's "The Man Who Died Two Times." That should have been a hit, in my opinion. And you did something a lot of people haven't done for years. You had Colin on the album from his XTC days. That's very rare.
Yeah.
You know,
Colin, great.
and he's been on a couple of tracks, right, with you guys.
Ghost by Gravity also.
Yeah,
From
that's
Giants.
a great video. That's a top 40 type, MTV type song right there, man. I mean,
We do a lot of views on that video, and people, Collins fans, the XTC fans,
big time.
We're very happy to see him pop up again.
Such a great band.
Oh my,
He's such a sweetheart, gentleman.
Really? Is that right?
Just gentleman, like, yeah, and just poured his heart out. Just damn good guy. He's just a phenomenal guy.
Yeah. My favorite thing was the Dukes of Stratosphere. Oh my God.
Yeah.
How cool. People compared that to the Beatles. The next Beatles would have been them. They should have carried it a little bit further,
Yeah.
It's like,
and also, it's interesting because XTC, I always thought were kind of like the Radiohead of their
That's what I was gonna say.
time, of the late 70s, early 80s.
Yep.
And certainly command that kind of respect,
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, that's rare for you guys to get them. It really is. He must like your music.
He did, and we owe a lot to Billy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good old
And
Bill
Ghost by
Sherwood.
Gravity was different because I remember emailing him going, dude, I don't like the lyrics. I mean, we wrote them. I'm like, I'm not feeling it. Next thing I know, he did the whole thing, like the whole thing, right? Like, if you listen to the chorus, like was it beers from Bavaria, Frauleins? Like, it's all this stuff. I'm like, holy shit, where'd you come up with that stuff? I mean, he just next leveled it.
Yeah.
Definitely.
He's involved with so many things, I liked his band Circa, which was, I think Tony Kaye was in that, and I've had Hawn on the show that worked with him as well. And his godfather was Milton Berle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
we were there when oh Lord. My brain's drawn. Sorry, I was up pretty late.
Yeah.
The basis for yes. Slap me in the face, please.
Chris Squire?
Thank you. Slap me in the face.
Yeah.
When he passed.
Oh yeah.
So we're all there.
I will.
What's that?
I'll do it later.
Right, sounds good. In stereo.
I had Chris on the show a long time ago, and I actually got upset with him because he fired John Anderson at the time. And, I was just saying, come on, Chris, what are you doing firing John Anderson? He was on holiday in Hawaii. And I just had John on the show recently, too. I love John Anderson. He's like one of my heroes,
Oh, yeah.
He's such a nice guy.
That's what I hear. I haven't spoken to him.
Yeah. Oh, you got to get him on one of your albums. He does a lot of collaborations. Yeah. You mentioned the pre-recorded live show, which is, I think, from 2022. Durga's in it. I think David Hussey is in that as well. When is that going to be released?
Probably, I would say 2025. Towards the end. What do you think,
I'm looking
Oscar?
forward to that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that realistic? We always have to add 30-40% time because we were aware of reality now. In my head, it's tomorrow, but that's never the case.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Billy was there. We had it was kind of a cool thing because it was the first time it was like a band, you know.
Right, right.
And Scott from Circa was drumming for
Oh,
us.
okay, good.
Scott Connor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Scott Connors. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome.
Great bass player, Jared Lander
Right.
on bass.
Yeah.
And he had some big shoes to fill. Tony Levin,
Tony
Vivi
Levin.
Rama,
Yeah.
and,
Billy Sherwood.
Billy
Yeah.
Sherwood. And yeah, no, it was an experience for sure.
Are you guys going to do any touring anytime soon or no?
We are looking. So sorry, Oscar, go ahead.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
So we're actually working on a live set right now.
Oh, good.
And we've got I don't know if I'm supposed to talk about this yet, but we've got a little core group sort of stabilizing.
Okay.
And so I feel very positive about it.
Good.
I think, you know, it's the way the industry's changed is it's so different, and we're a little bit long in the tooth, let's say. So, you know, 30 years ago, it's like, let's go live in a van for 2 months.
Right.
Now it's like, what?
Yeah, I know.
Where's my hotel room? You know.
I interviewed the Commodores, one of the guys on the Commodores, and
Wow.
he said they all slept in the same bed. Lionel Richie sleeping in the same bed with all the other bandmates.
But it makes your metal, man. It's all this stuff. Because one thing I realized, and this is going to be the first time I ever mentioned this anywhere, I have stage fright, or had, where I would implode. And I found out 2 months ago what happened because the whole thing was in my head. I thought it was like one of those things I made up in my head. And then, you know, when you think of somebody and then they call you?
Yeah.
Right. So I didn't talk to, this was like my BFF in high school, Billy, right? I didn't talk to him in years. So I was thinking about him, right?
Right.
So he calls me, right? And I asked him, I said, did this actually happen? So just quickly, there was like 1,200 parents, and my teacher was throwing music night, right? I was playing double bass, and I had a crush on the girl who was playing cello, right? So 14 years old. All I had to do with this bloody show was to play a quarter note every bar, right? Boom, boom, right? So I'm there. She comes in, sits down. I start sweating like a pig. We start playing the solo, right? I'm getting off. Boom, not the solo, sorry, the part, right? Boom, 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 right? So then everyone starts looking at me, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm going down, right? So the teacher stops the performance, looks at the parents, and he goes, ladies and gentlemen, there's good players, there's bad players, and then there's Sepand, and he points at me, right? Everyone laughs. Like this was in a movie, right?
Oh my
So when my friend called me, he repeated the teacher's lines. So I knew it actually happened. So I called up Billy and Oscar. I was like, I found out what happened. So then what would happen is that I would implode. Like I would play, and it's like, you suck, you're a fraud. And then when you have Dirk and Billy, it's like Miles Davis level players here.
Yeah.
Right? What do they call that thing where you feel you're a phony?
Imposter syndrome.
Okay.
Right? So that's what happened.
Wow.
So, but I also noticed when we did that live show, my playmanship just went up, right? I was like, oh, this is an important piece of the puzzle. So I got over it seems, because I'm not imploding in front of these guys. So I think what's going to happen is we're going to play some live shows in LA.
Yeah. There's
some festivals we're going to try out.
Good. So Pam, why do you think so many rock stars are high when they get on stage?
You know, that's pretty much it. Because I think you get in your own way.
Yep.
And you need to get rid of that.
You got to get rid of that.
And I noticed too, like if you're playing a lot, you go backstage, there's drinks, right?
Yeah.
And there's been times where in the summer I meet friends in Canada or whatever, right? We're in the cottage and I'm just having a whiskey almost every day. Then it's like a month later, you're craving it.
That's right.
Like, shit, there you go.
Yep.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Exactly right.
So I remember one of the first big shows I played was at the Roxy,
Wow.
opening for the Damned. Right, I was in a band called the Women,
The
and
women. Huh.
yeah, and I had seen Marillion there and countless
Right.
other bands, and then so I remember being backstage, and then there's a little peephole you can look out to see the theater, from the backstage area.
Oh shit!
And I remember looking out,
Oh
and
no!
just seeing the sea of people, and going like, "Oh shit, I shouldn't have done that." It's just immediately you get this kind of like fight or flight, and then but then go through with it. And
I know.
it's exciting. It's exhilarating.
I interviewed Melanie, who just passed away recently, Pobrecita.
Oh no.
Yeah, she was a friend. She was
Yeah.
on the show a lot of times, but she was in Woodstock, and it was just her and then a guitar and her voice in front of 500,000 people. She told
Wow.
me she left her body. She didn't know where she was.
Yeah. Imagine.
It was
Jeez.
unbelievable. I mean,
I wonder with those kind of numbers, because I was looking at the Queen's performance in Wembley too.
right.
With those kind of numbers, I just think, like, I wonder if I'm less nervous with those kind of numbers than having 12 people stare at me.
That's true. You're right about that. It's like a wall. It's different.
It's
Yeah.
wallpaper almost. Yeah.
Yeah. I was recently on stage with Joan Jett
Oh,
over here in Tampa. It was Joan Jett and Alanis Morissette. And I know her record company, so they put me on stage to watch the show on stage.
Wow.
I got to watch the audience, which was 20,000 people.
Yeah.
And it's true. I don't think I'd be nervous talking to 20,000 people, but 12
Yeah.
people, yes.
Yeah, definitely. It's you feel so exposed, I think, with
Yeah.
just like bunch of people like right up close. You can see them,
Especially if their eyes move away and look down and they're not paying attention to you. I would hate that. It's like, did I lose them?
Right.
I don't like that feeling.
I remember in college, that was one of the hardest things to do, was the public speech class.
Right. I took speech in high school. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got over it though. Being a DJ, you get over all that stuff. I was a top 40 DJ back in the late 70s.
Wow.
I had to do an 8-hour show. So, but it's different because you're hiding behind a mic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I get to hide behind my keyboards, I guess.
Yeah.
That a bit.
And drummers get to hide all the time.
Yeah.
So Pat, I got to ask you, man.
Yes, sir.
The song Blackfoot by
Yeah.
In Extremis, that's got to be you, right? Because that's more of a rocker, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Oscar came up with the piano part during
Right.
the rehearsal. I like discomfort. Like it's melancholy, something's going on, right? And I think the name came from the rhyme of the Ancient Mariner.
Okay.
And the albatross, right? I didn't want to say albatross because it's been done 1,000 times. So another word for that bird is Blackfoot.
Right.
So that's kind of where it comes from. That was one of those moments where I remember writing Tony. He's like, "What do you want me to do in this section?" I'm like, "Hey Tony, do you mind soloing?" And he writes back, he's like, I don't ever do it, but I'll do it. I was like, hell yeah. And it's just one of those. I was talking to our current drummer now. I was just like, it's one of those moments, Brian Myers, where everything was magic and it all kind of fell into place.
Right.
We didn't have to. It was a lot of work, but we didn't have to fight it. That whole. I think both Giants and Extremis was like that. It was just a lot of hard work, but it
Visionaries
felt
a really good song.
Yeah.
Yeah. I went back and listened to all the albums over again. I loved them, man. And of course, the self-titled album. I mean, you can see the change in your style from the first album until now. You can see how you got more cinematic, especially recently, But all your music is just incredible.
Just learning from the greats.
Yeah.
Like Billy doesn't doubt him. Billy Sherwood doesn't doubt himself.
Mm-hmm.
It's like watching a person get on the surfboard and ride the wave, and whatever
Yeah.
happens, happens, right? And I can't speak for Oscar, but I get in my own way a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
God knows how many. Like there was the other day, I had this thing where I was just playing two chords, the song, right? Threw it away, and I'm listening to "Drive" by the Cars.
Right. I love
Like,
the
son
Cars.
of a bitch. I was like, wow. It's like, I do myself a lot of injustice sometimes.
You know,
Um,
moving in stereo. Oh my God, what
oh,
a classic, right?
well, I mean, just the guitar. I'm studying the guitar solos in a sort of way, right? It's just
Yeah.
like it's incredible.
Yeah. Mm.
Thank God Oscar's there. He saves the babies.
I had a lot of great electronic composers on my show. You know, I have Jan Hammer was on the show. You know,
Wow.
Daryl Way. One of my favorites back in high school was Larry Fast. You know, Larry Fast from Synergy.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, he's one of the pioneers.
Yes.
And you know, Tangerine Dream has been around for years and years. You know,
Love them.
it's incredible what they've done. You know,
Yes.
They did a few
Vangelis.
scores too, didn't they?
who's that?
They did a few scores too for movies,
I
right?
think yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
Tons. Sorcerer.
Yeah,
Risky Business.
yeah. The cool thing,
Legend.
not only film scores, you guys can do video games. You know, that's very profitable now. Music for video games.
Sure.
Yeah, I'd rather do film scores, of course.
Depress the hell out of the players. Welcome to the game. Life sucks. Music plays in 2 stations.
That's the name of the game. Life sucks.
Exactly.
That's funny. All right, Oscar, tell me about Marilyn Monroe.
Hey, you hiding something I don't know about?
I got to hear this.
Yeah, no, it's interesting because my mom, she was originally from Oklahoma.
Right.
This is Oklahoma.
Is that where Marilyn was from, I guess? Was she from Oklahoma?
I'm not sure where Marilyn was from, but I know she was a Midwestern girl.
Right.
Yeah. And so during the war, World War II, I guess I have to specify, it's been long enough now. During World War II, my mom worked for the Air Force in San Diego. So she ended up over here. And then after the war, she was in LA in modeling school.
Mm-hmm.
And her roommate was Norma Jean.
Wow. Did she have any good stories about living with her?
Nothing crazy, or just she would say what a sweet girl she was, and how normal. Still had brunette hair.
Right.
She was just normal. They were two Midwestern girls like trying to make it in the big city, you know.
Exactly.
And yeah, and interesting story is my mom briefly dated William Holden.
Oh man.
Yeah.
What a background.
Yeah. And then but yeah, I don't know what happened, you know, at that point, you know, that would have probably been late 40s, early 50s, something like that. You know. But my mom eventually ended up back in San Diego, where she met my dad, who used to come up to San Diego a lot from Mexico.
Was your dad Mexican also, or no?
My dad was Mexican, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, listen
my
to
mom,
this. My dad, my dad's first wife. I didn't find this out till I was in my 20s that he was married before.
Yes.
His first. Oh no, but not my dad. My mom's, but they were both married before, and I found out when I was in my 20s because we discovered some kind of insurance policy or something like that.
That is hilarious.
But my mom's first husband was Mexican.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So we always kidded my brother, who's older than me, that he was from the first. You know, like he's Mexican.
Wow.
But actually, he was born in Cuba, so I don't know.
You know, my mom, when my mom met my dad, her favorite show is like a big big, kind of deal at the time. It was, when it was first on, was I Love Lucy.
Yeah.
So when my dad was very dapper, always wearing a suit, and had the little Clark Gable mustache.
Those are cool.
Very, very well put together, always very elegant guy. And she thought, oh my God, he's like Desi Arnaz. And so they interested, and they met at in San Diego, and one of their first dates was Nat King Cole concert.
Really?
In a small club.
Huh.
Yeah. So,
that's a damn good date, man.
Imagine. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
Sepand would look good with one of those little skinny mustaches.
there you go.
He's got to dye his hair and dye his mustache, but he's got that Hollywood look, doesn't he? Yeah, look at him. See,
I joke around that I'm like the fat stunt double for George Clooney.
You do look like George Clooney. You're right about that.
No, the other day my friend comes. The old Perry Mason. He's like, you look like the old Perry. Dude, no, come on. I get Paul Rodriguez sometimes.
Yeah.
You
got to be a little heavier for Paul Rodriguez. But he does look like Clooney. He looks like Clooney. It's amazing.
Yeah. Thank you.
My mom, I told you she was a model too. Her boyfriend was like the manager of the Tropicana in Cuba. And her duty, she was supposed to go to the airport to pick up all the talent. So she picked up Nat King Cole, Bing Crosby.
Wow.
She sat at the table with Robert Taylor and his wife, Barbara Stanwyck.
Wow.
Yeah. So
did you write any of this stuff down?
Actually, it's in my first book.
Awesome.
I'm an author. I've got a new book coming out, but yeah, I'll send you the links to the book.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
We're the buying type. We're not the gift type.
Okay. Well, I can send you the
ebook.
Wow,
that's awesome.
Yeah. I got a sci-fi book coming out soon.
What's your first book called?
My first book is called Check the G's. It's me growing up in the family business. That's me.
Wow.
It's in Washington, D.C., the store. Retail Electronics.
Wow.
And the second book you're going to love. It's called The Rockstar Chronicles. And it's got over 45 interviews. I mean, we've got, everybody from Emerson, Lake and Palmer, all the guys from Yes. I mean, you name it, I've got them in here. Johnny Winter.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then how did we sneak in through the back door? Like we're trespassing.
George Clooney and you're Brad Pitt. And I don't know what kind of back door you're talking about.
Yeah, what is he talking about? Exactly.
Well, I don't know about Brad Pitt. This Brad, I used to call this a widow's peak. Now it's more like a friar tuck thing.
Friar tuck, yeah, that's a good thing. Yeah. All the prog guys that I interview, most of them, I'd say 80% of them are completely bald now.
Oh yeah.
And Peter Frampton, man, he didn't have any more hair. He used to have beautiful hair.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's all gone.
Flowing long, like blonde locks.
Yeah, no more. That was his thing. His hair.
Yeah, the Robert Plant still got a hair.
He does. He still keeps all his hair too.
He looks great. He's I think late 70s.
He's up there.
Yeah.
The guy who really looks good is Ringo, man.
Oh
yeah.
He's kept himself in great shape.
How'd you feel, Ray, listening to the song the now and then?
I liked it. It was okay, I mean, what can you expect, But I'm sure they've got some music that has never been released before that they could release. That would probably
positive,
yeah.
It hit me hard.
Really?
It hit me hard, yeah. Like Free as a Bird, I felt that way. Like it was okay.
Right.
I was really blown away by the slide playing. that last scene where it's the Beatles and the drum set, and then the members fade away.
Oh, that was
and I
was
was
perfect.
yeah,
The way
and
they
I'm
did that
watching it
was
with my
great.
8 and
Yeah,
11-year-old, right?
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
trying not to cry. I'm like, God damn, not no.
Not in front of my 11-year-old.
No. I'm guessing that cry.
I know. That was perfect. They did that. That was a great job. It's hard to
Yeah.
believe though that two of the Beatles are gone,
Yeah.
And Paul and Ringo are so old now. God, where'd the
Sure.
time go? It seemed like yesterday when I remember when the Beatles came out in '64 on Ed Sullivan.
How old are you?
65.
Holy, good for you. I'm not going to hit on you on your show. Good job. Wow.
Yeah, my wife's older than me. She's going to be 70 next birthday. But time flies, man.
Congratulations.
Time flies.
No, it really does. Like, just the kids kind of evidence it.
I got 5 grandkids, man, and they're growing like weed. It's amazing.
What's it like being a grandpa, man? I can't believe you're a grandpa.
It's wonderful, man. We babysit them all the time. It makes you feel young again. Makes you feel like you got your kids back.
And like you're living through them.
You're living through them again. Yeah.
Yeah.
You start all over again. It's great. I got to ask you some questions about composing movie scores and that kind of thing. These are all questions about composing for movies, because I think you guys are going to be very successful at it. What makes a composer decide to work on a film besides money? So like if you pick and choose a movie and it's not for the money, what would make you do the film score for that project?
I think if I can say I think the movie, well,
does it have to be a movie that you like?
Yeah, definitely. I think, I was thinking about Peter Gabriel, right? He's done very few soundtracks,
right?
And they're all, there's Birdie, Passion, Last Temptation of Christ, Bulletproof, the Rabbit Proof Fence. There's not much, right? And they're all very weighty themes, and from great directors, right? Yeah, I think, of course, we don't have Peter Gabriel money. We can just kind of, call us, but.
Do you think you can fit into any kind of genre, any kind of movie genre, like sci-fi or like a rom-com or anything like that? Or do you think you have a particular style, for a certain type of genre movie?
That's interesting, because I think as a duo, we have a certain something that is created by both of us,
right?
That is a certain sound that maybe we tend to be a bit darker, right? When I was at UCLA studying film scoring, one of the things we did was we scored a lot of different types of scenes, and you can learn to have like a wide emotional palette,
right?
That's not all just like I'm the depressing guy,
right?
Without being a hack, without like trying to like, okay, now we're copying this guy, now
that's for the money. That's for the money.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
I'll do anything.
we recently, I don't know if we've advertised it at all, but we did a couple of short commercials for I won't say what it's for or whatever, but and the palette there was definitely more varied and more more, I guess, on the happy side.
Yeah, a lot of money in that commercial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I think we could, I know Sepand probably agrees with this. Like, I tend to gravitate towards certain directors and
Right.
certain styles, Kubrick, David Lynch, Alan Parker. Yeah, there's some directors that really like called to me. But at the same time, I love what Guillermo del Toro does, and his output. It's always, you can always tell it's him, right? But it's very like pretty diverse range within like that wheelhouse that he's got,
Right.
And I don't know. I think I did I drift away from the answer.
Well, going into that, what do you always want directors to know that they may not understand? When you're writing for them, I guess.
Ooh. I think Sepand will remember this when we were first working with Alex, and Alex was super excited, and he would sort of reference a lot of like wildly disparate styles or composer. And I actually think that that's sort of how we work in the band. Because going back to the first album, for example, I would have like maybe a piece, and Sepand would go like, on that kind of Kraftwerk piece you got, maybe we could do something like who was the composer, Sepand?
Oh God, don't make Goretzky? Gorecki?
Yeah, Goretzky or Goretzky's Symphony Number 3. And then so you usually get this like kind of look from me like, like you're first time maybe I'll go like, you're nuts.
I would say, well, you're being, I think, fucking crazy is what you said. Like one of the songs, Requiem for the Living.
Right.
That was the first song we actually did. And he looks at me and goes, "You're fucking crazy." I was like, "They're just trying to be." Yeah. So when he says that, I know we're on the right path.
There you go.
Is there something a filmmaker can do to help a composer in the process?
I think for the we had asked like what are your thoughts? That accordion piece was inspired by, what was that movie? Claire, the French movie.
Amelie.
Very
Emily.
French. Yeah.
Amelie. Yeah.
Emily, right?
Amelie.
And then the director had some ideas with like, and they're like, he's European, he's young, so he sent some EDM stuff over, right? We're like, oh, okay. And when you're being, and I mean this in a positive way, when you're being forced because of length and scene and emotions, right? There's a bit of contortion that happens.
Yep.
And sometimes you get really good lemon juice out of yourself. So this one was kind of inspired by a young Italian director. It was just really cool.
Well, I think it's interesting too that I think sometimes you get what's called a temp soundtrack, right? Like so, and I know that Spielberg, when he works with John Williams, he'll reference a lot of classical pieces that and they so they've got the same language. I think that's really helpful, and I think between the two of us, we're pretty like knowledgeable in a wide variety of styles and stuff, and so I think that's really helpful. Like if I'm going for something kind of like this or something. I think the danger is when you get too like when someone might get too attached to either a temp soundtrack or a particular pieces like this guy. This has to be like Mahler's, and then Well, that doesn't sound like Mahler. It's like, well, we're not Mahler, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And so
And I remember we did music over some spoken word footage. And it's like, it doesn't
right.
sound like you guys. I'm like, no shit, people are speaking. What do you want me to do? Fucking do like a tap fucking here? I was like, I told you.
That's got to be difficult though, because you're working with a director, you know, that is very fond of his movie and he wants the perfect music for his movie. And you're trying to do the right thing. You're trying to please him. You're trying to please yourself. Gosh, it can't be easy. So
Right.
what happens? Are you watching segments of the movie and he'll tell you where to put the music in and you're trying to get the feel? Is that what happens?
Yeah, basically. And I think, you know, if a scene's done, right?
Mhm.
Like one of the techniques that I've employed, you know, and not that I haven't had that much opportunity to do it, but one of the techniques I have done is, you know, you look at the length of the piece,
Right.
and kind of go through it once with a metronome.
Mhm.
Just kind of like find the rhythm for that scene, you know, and it could be the rhythm of the words, could
Mhm.
be, you know, someone's
Scene changes.
walking,
Yeah.
the cuts, you know, could be a lot of different things, and then you just kind of you have to have a sort of a grid, I guess, you know. If people imagine that someone's just composing, it's got to be a little bit more controlled,
Yeah.
especially for fitting it to.
Well,
Well,
when you're doing the intro, that's got to be a lot easier than doing music with
right.
talking. You know, you're
Yeah.
doing the background of the
Yeah.
people
Right.
speaking. I mean, like if
Or
you're
like
doing a James Bond theme, that's not as hard. You know, you just
right.
you know.
There's I could add two more scenarios to this that I do not like.
Okay.
One is the director is very eager to hear what's going on, right?
Right.
So please send me the tracks. I'm like, dude, this is like, you know, maybe 10 tracks out of the 40, right?
Right.
So I said, this sounds like Depeche Mode and Pink Floyd right now.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna add to it later,
Mm-hmm.
right? So we send it over just to kind of like, you know, we're working. We're not like, you know, by the beach drinking martinis, you know? So, oh, I love it. Don't do anything more with it. I'm, oh no. He's like, so I said, I told you, right? Or what happens is they get, this is a word Billy Sherwood taught me, demoitis, right? They listen to
Yeah.
the sketch.
Right.
And then when we do the real shit, they're like, what's this? We like the sketch more. I'm like,
Right. Oh
so,
yeah.
and it's kind of like a short-term marriage. It's like you have to kind of compromise, but at the end of the day, there's one boss.
You got a time frame too, right? Don't they?
Yeah.
You can't do this forever.
Oh, it can be really nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
It can be
I can
really
imagine.
nerve-wracking. I mean,
Yeah.
how Oscar hasn't turned into a vampire sometimes, I don't know. Poor guy.
Well, you guys are the perfect duo to be doing this, you know? I mean, I wish you a lot of luck with
Thank you.
doing movie scores because, you know, I love them. I really do.
Yeah.
I think film scores now are better than, they're definitely better than what's on the radio. I mean, come on,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yeah. Radio is painful sometimes.
Yeah.
I kind of find the soundtracks more companions.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I could listen to a song from the Killers and just
Mm-hmm.
listen to it every day for 1 month, and I'm like, yeah, yeah. Then after, then it's just done.
Mm-hmm.
These things kind of stay with you. You know,
Yeah.
you might be feeling sad year 1, year 19, you're feeling a different way. You've learned stuff
Exactly.
about, you pop that song again. It's like, wow.
Yeah.
It's like I have a new appreciation for it.
Well, if I can get my book off the ground and make a movie out of it, I'll call you guys to do the entire
We'd be
soundtrack.
honored. We would be honored, sir.
Because I know you guys can definitely do sci-fi. And
Sci-fi.
it needs to be dark sci-fi. So there you
Yeah.
go.
So you have to play the keyboards in the dark, Oscar.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
You got to
That's
play
a
the guitar in the dark.
Mel
too.
Brooks joke right there. I just watched Spaceballs with the kids. That's probably
Oh
what
my
happened.
gosh. It's funny.
They're
when you
making
watch that.
Spaceballs too, man.
No. Who's going to
Yeah,
play
just
John
went
Candy's
to-
part?
Oh yeah, poor guy.
I actually met John Candy. He was a really
Uh,
nice guy.
I hear that. I hear he was really like
Nice,
very
down to
down to
earth.
earth, nice,
Yeah.
sweetheart.
Yeah.
I think he
All
was
right,
Canadian.
guys.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
he's
was.
Canadian. That's right.
Yeah.
He bought a
Got
football
another
team up there
here.
too.
We
Yeah,
got another Canadian here.
Yes.
that's right. Toronto, right?
Yeah.
Are you a hockey fan?
No, I gave
No?
up.
You gave
I
up?
just couldn't take my heart with the pounding. I was like, I'm retired. So once I moved here, I gave it up. So it's
You
been
gave it up.
21 years, 22 years.
We got a great team down here in Tampa Bay.
Oh.
Who would ever thought Florida would have world champion hockey
Right.
team, you know?
And then the LA Kings before that. It's like,
Yeah,
what the
and
hell?
Florida. And also Florida won
I was
last
like,
year.
We're the hot stuff. Yeah.
No, Canadians have not won a Stanley Cup for a while. They
Wow.
were in the Stanley Cup. Edmonton was there last year, right? And
I
Connor
saw
McDavid.
Wayne Gretzky at a restaurant the other day.
Really?
That guy is tall.
Is he really?
Yeah, I was like, yeah, I was sitting down. He walks in. I'm like, oh my god, this guy's a giant.
Oh, yeah, you don't realize till you meet him in person.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's funny.
Wow.
Like the first time I met Alvin Lee from 10 Years After. He was
Wow.
tall too. I didn't think he was that tall. Yeah.
It's like I'm getting hurt interviewing you, man.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Here's your final question. And I ask everybody this question. I get some really interesting answers. And we're going to go back to that Field of Dreams things. If you had a Field of Dreams wish, like the movie, to perform or collaborate with anyone from the past or present, who would that be?
Oh my goodness.
You can pick a whole band if you want.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow.
I'm gonna reserve my answer Oscar last. That's okay.
I'm thinking Oscar's got Nirvana in there somewhere.
I've got Genesis circa Three Sides Live era. Like if I could just jump in there and play like Dodo and Abacab, the In the Cage medley, you know.
Okay.
Oh goodness, amazing. But also you said Alive or Dead, so
Yeah.
I'm picturing maybe a quintet with Coltrane,
Right.
Thelonious Monk. Oh man, this is hard.
Miles Davis.
Yeah.
Excited over there.
Okay, we're
No,
reconfiguring
wait.
the Miles Davis quintet. Yeah. Plus,
Then-
for some reason, Beethoven's in there.
Beethoven.
Yeah.
Dude, this interview is gonna go on for another 3 hours. What? Janis Joplin? You're completo, mister?
I am. That
That was it.
maybe Bach. Okay, one more.
There
Yeah.
we go.
Okay.
I knew you had it in you.
Me and Mozart have the same birthday, so I'm
Oh,
partial
wow.
to Mozart.
Look at that.
Yeah.
My answer would be a very cheesy Valentine-y answer, and that is nobody. I'm very happy with Oscar.
Oh wow!
I just-
Listen to that, Oscar.
Very, very earnestly and seriously. You know, we played with a lot of people. It's an honor.
Yeah.
But to discover what you have and don't have, and you know, having somebody beside you through that journey, it's really
Oh,
incredible.
wow.
I wouldn't want it with.
Well, I think this this team is going to last forever here.
It depends if Oscar gives me a Christmas present or not.
But
Well-
Sepand, who's your favorite guitar player?
Oh my God.
You play guitar, you play bass, right?
Yeah.
Who else? What else do you play?
I played the dobro, lap
Right.
steel. I press one key at a time on the synth
Okay.
and the tar, the
Okay.
personal lute.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Nobody plays violin, huh?
No, but we need
Yeah.
violin. Your
Yeah.
cousin does, isn't it, Oscar?
I like violin.
I used to play viola.
There you go.
It's been a
Yeah.
while.
My favorite guitarist. You know, I didn't know about Gilmore till after the debut was released, and I was reading some reviews. I'd say my all-time would be Jimmy Page.
Mm-hmm.
But when I heard Gilmore the first time, oh my God. I was like, I'm not, forgive me, but I'm like, I'm not even a sweat on his balls, man. And the thing, you know, I discovered him later on. And it's
Yeah.
oh.
Mm.
And you know, for the song Being,
Mm-hmm.
which you mentioned, it's the last song.
Mm-hmm.
Oscar sent me the song with like a 2.5 minute gap,
Mm-hmm.
and I got all cocky. I'm like, okay, let me try a solo. It wasn't like his gap wasn't intended for the solo that long, but I remember going through the process. Like Gilmore keeps you entertained,
Right.
and he's like a master kung fu artist. It's like
Yeah.
everything he hits is like right on the nose. It's emotional. He keeps you engaged, and there's no showboating.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, you got me. I'm gonna change my answer to Gilmore.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's got a new album out. And
Yes, and he's
got,
touring. I heard.
did you hear the song with his daughter?
No,
Oh, it's excellent. It's on YouTube.
is that? Oh, she's a brunette.
I think so.
I saw
Yeah.
2 clips. One, he was on stage with a gal. I don't know, it was his daughter. And then there's
Yeah.
one where he shows up at a pub
Right.
and he sings with her.
He's been at the Hollywood Bowl the last few nights.
Oh, has he? Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, he's only playing like the big venues, New York, LA. He's not
Right.
going anywhere else.
tiring.
London. He's playing London. I saw Pink Floyd twice, so I was lucky. I saw him in 75, in
Wow.
77, I think.
Wow.
Animals.
Yeah, I saw the
Wow.
original band.
I saw him in
original band, and then with Durga. Durga was in the second tour I saw.
Oh, so with Durga, so that was probably
Yeah.
for Division Bell.
Yeah, I think it was Divisionville
Yeah,
or
yeah.
Momentary
Pulse
Lapse of
Tour.
Reason, maybe either one.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
went to the Momentary Lapse of Reason at the LA Coliseum. That was pretty amazing.
They're so good in
I
concert,
envy
aren't
you
they?
guys.
Yeah.
I really envy you guys.
I saw Zeppelin twice.
Wow. Amazing.
Can I ask you, Ray? Like, have you gone to any recent shows, and what your thoughts of like the audience and
Well,
and
the last one
musicians?
was Alanis Morissette and Joan Jett, and
That must have blown you away, right?
I do like Alanis Morissette, and I've
Yeah.
always been a Joan Jett fan. So yeah,
Yeah.
that was a good concert. That was a really good concert. I don't like bands that don't have any original members. I will not go see them because they're just a cover band, and they shouldn't exist. Like Foreigner, Journey, bands that.
What do you think of the idea, though, that because I know that Chris Squire had this idea that Yes
I
could
don't
just
like Yes at
go
all.
on.
I can't stand them
Really?
because I was a big Yes fan from way back, from the very beginning. And
Yeah.
you don't call yourself Yes with that band. I'm sorry, Billy. I apologize, but that's not Yes. I mean, when you have Trevor Rabin and John Anderson and Wakeman, that's more Yes than anybody. When they were touring together.
Yeah, what happened with that project? I thought they would.
Well, John's new album is incredible. He's with the Band Geeks.
Oh yeah,
Group called the Band Geeks. But
Yeah.
this album sounds more like Yes than anything.
Wow.
It's a very good album. So
Yeah.
You got to buy the new John Anderson album. It's really, really
Yeah.
good.
I did see the cover.
Yeah,
I'll get it after this.
it's good. And David
I listen-
Gilmour's new album's good too.
Oh,
Yep, both of
Listened
them.
to Animation again recently, and that's a really great album.
Mm-hmm.
From what is that, 81, 82, something like that.
Right.
Yeah, good stuff. Also, all the John Evangelis stuff. Oh,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
great stuff. You know.
God rest his soul. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right. A lot of them are leaving us, man. It's
Yeah.
hard.
I don't want to mention, but if a certain Beatle goes or two Beatles goes, that's the end of rock to me. It's just like,
I know when it hurt me when Johnny Winter went because I had Johnny on the show and he was always touring. You know, he was always out there, and that's cute. How many cats do you have?
Oh,
That's funny.
Peachy.
Peachy?
Peachy.
Right.
There's 4 cats, 4
Oh,
kids.
you got 4. Yeah, usually you
Yeah.
have more than one. Yeah.
he's part of the crazy cat crowd that don't have children.
Yeah.
Well, I want to say very special thanks to Ann Layton of Media Music Services for arranging this interview with Days Between Stations.
Yeah.
I've known Ann now
Thank
for
you.
many
She's
years.
the best.
She's cool. She really
She's
is.
very cool.
Yeah. Pre-order the new album by Days Between Stations entitled Perpetual Motion Machines, Music for a Film. It's going to be out November 29th. Seeds is out. You can go look at Seeds on YouTube right now. You can pre-order the CD right now at www.daysbetweenstations.com. I think you have a section there where you can buy the album now under products, I believe. For more information about Days Between Stations, you can go to www.daysbetweenstations.com. You're on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Bandcamp. Do we cover everything?
We did.
I think so. That's amazing.
You guys, let's keep in touch.
Promise.
Yes.
I want to know your progress. I want to see you do the next James Bond score.
You got
Yes.
Okay.
it. You got
Why
it.
not? You know,
Yeah.
Chris Cornell did a Bond score, and it was one of the best.
Oh, it
Right?
was awesome.
So
Even Billy
my-
Eilish's version was really good.
I'm telling
I love
you. Yeah.
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 I mean, there will never be, you know, like the old days, like Shirley Bassey, of course, and, you know, but Chris Cornell
big.
nailed it. He really did.
Yeah.
And I think you guys could do it too.
I like the Billie Eilish one also.
Yeah.
Yeah. No Time to Die. It's really
Yeah.
great.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, thank you so much, man, for
Thank
being
you
on the
so
show.
much for your time.
Keep
Been a
doing what you're doing.
Huge. We're honored.
We're
Me
honored.
too. I am honored too.
Yeah.
You guys are wonderful. 5 stars on the album. And
Thank you, sir.
looking forward to great things.
And if you're in LA, come look us up. We'll take you out.
I'd like to.
Yeah.
I've only been to LA once, long time ago. And
You ain't missing much. I'm sure I'm going to get a call from the mayor.
we actually stayed at the Century Plaza Hotel, and they were having, which is gone now,
Yeah.
and they had a tribute to Danny Thomas and St. Jude's Hospital.
Oh wow.
We were in the lobby, and every movie star known to man came down the escalator,
Wow.
and we mingled with them for like half an hour or so. It was
Wow.
I stood right next to Fred McMurray and George Burns. I mean, it
Oh,
was
man.
incredible.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
We were in the right place at the right time, I guess.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Was George Burns smoking his cigar?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh,
course,
that guy went through like 20, 30 a day or
A
something.
day. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And he drank too.
Yeah.
And he lived
Maybe
over
that's the secret.
100. Maybe that's the secret.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot,
Thank
man.
you so much. Have a good one.
You guys take care.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.
Thank you for joining us on Interviewing the Legends with Ray Shasho.